Hello, everybody, and welcome to the December 14th, 2021 iteration of the Kubernetes SIG Windows community meeting. As always, these meetings are recorded and uploaded to YouTube, so be sure to adhere to the CNCF Code of Conduct. Let's get started. There's a couple of announcements. One is that the Kubernetes dev mailing list is being migrated in early January. I believe that the contributor experience team is planning on doing that on January 2nd. So what's happening is a lot of the current Kubernetes like mailing lists are Google groups, and which are the free offering for the Google Suite groups, and they're running into a lot of limitations. So they are migrating those to G Suite groups, so that they have a lot more control and everything. This should be kind of transparent for most users. I think that they're still finalizing some communications mails, but basically in early January, they're going to stop updates to the existing Kubernetes dev mailing list. They're going to keep it around, and they're going to migrate all of the users to the new mailing list, which I believe is just going to be Kubernetes dev at kubernetes.io. So just be aware of that. If you have any filters that are filtering, like mail filters for that, you may see mails coming from a different address. The other thing is we will be working on resharing all of the docs, like the meeting notes that we're looking at here with the new alias. If anybody sees any issues with this past, like in January, just reach out in Slack to SIG Windows or any of the other channels. There'll be more messaging coming through. The next announcement was Docker shim was removed. The PR to remove Docker shim from the Kubernetes codebase went in last week, which prompted us to fix up a lot of, or disable a lot of Docker shim test jobs and everything. But other than that, haven't been too much impact yet. This also means that KubeNet is removed. If people were kind of relying on KubeNet, that was one that kind of less advertised than change here. So if there's any questions, or if you were relying on KubeNet, that's I guess like that was removed. So just be aware. If we want, we can talk about this more as part of the community meeting if anybody has any concerns about the Docker shim removal or anything like that. One last announcement is in the US, there's a lot of like holidays coming up, and I was wondering if people were okay with canceling the next two community meetings, especially the one on the 28th. I think there's not going to be a lot of the folks here. If anybody has any concerns, let me know. If not, I'll probably cancel those and let folks kind of just relax and have some time to focus on whatever they're working on. Okay, if not, we could start with some of the topics. Jing, I see that you commented on this. Are you? Yes, I see you're in the meeting. It's like
there's S.
Yeah.
Yes, I was reading this documentation about Windows support, and I feel some part I'm not very sure, and it might need to be updated. I list a few of those. For example, here, the first one, volume mounts cannot project files or directory back to the host file system. I'm not sure the meaning of this, and is still true, or?
I have not looked at this recently. I know I've made some other updates to like what was supported, because I did see a lot of things like I'll find them later. A lot of this document was outdated. Would you like to open up a PR to the website to fix some of these?
Sure. But yeah, there are a few things I'm not sure. So I hope someone can, if know some background of why we claim this way, so it will be good. And also with host process available, there are a lot of things maybe also need to update it.
Yeah, we weren't sure how to do some of those updates, because a lot of these are like a lot of these capabilities we could just put an asterisk and say works with host process containers. That is a good observation, though, that we probably need to update some of these to say, it works with host process containers, but not with regular containers. I don't have a lot of the history about why we say some things like volume mounts cannot project files or directories back to the host file system. Does anybody else on the call have some of that context? If not, I think we could probably just reword it so that they do some validation and then update the wording, or just remove some of these claims.
Yeah, no, I think that's not correct. So I think the document in general needs to just be updated. I think there's a bunch of outdated information.
Yeah, it's hard to keep this up to date. I've went through, and there's been a number of times where I've updated things that I saw that were not correct. But yeah, I think we just need to go through and update it as we see things that are incorrect.
Yeah, I had a couple of things as well. I think, so Mark, should we just redo the thing in a big effort, or should we just do small PRs and but I think at some point we discussed in this community meeting about kind of restructuring it. This page has grown to be too huge, and there's a lot of information there. But I don't know if it's the right time. Should we just keep doing the PRs for now?
Yeah, so Tim Bannister did do a pretty big restructuring, but I think that there's still room for improvement here. If for things like this, where it's just little comments that are either not true anymore or confusing, we should probably just update those quickly with a small targeted PR just to fix the accuracy.
Yeah, I think the small targeted PRs will help, because then when we do a big restructuring, it's we're operating on more correct information.
Yeah, a lot of I had to not comment on some things in the big PR that Tim Bannister did that I saw, because I just didn't want to drag that one out, and then I went and opened a smaller PR later. So I think I agree with Brendan that for accuracy type things, let's just do small PR.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, there are a couple of more inaccurate things there that were called out by some of the customers who come to this page very frequently, apparently. So anyway, I'll make the PRs too.
I'll also make my sales pitch for DevTools here, because that was one of the reasons we originally built it, was that there's an abstraction in the way we document Windows stuff that is not clear, was not clear, at least to me, once I started working on it. And it's our options are AKS, GKE, which are paid. Kind is not an option. Kind is the reference for everyone else, right, in Linux. And another free, we don't have to go with DevTools, because there's also Cluster API, which is a great abstraction to go with. It's a different one, but it's immutable image based. And it's I think picking one of those as the framework for how we talk about this for me would be more useful, because it's starting with something concrete is easier, I think.
Yeah, I think this page is trying to serve too many purposes, because I can see some users coming from, a cloud offering or something, just saying, hey, does this work as I'm expecting it to work? And for some of those scenarios, it is handy to be able to see things oh, volume mounts, certain types of resize operations may not work or things like that. And they're not trying to build and manage their clusters. But for another audience, I think just having a different layout would be useful.
Yeah, I think breaking the document up at the very least is what we need to do. Like, we need to have a story for volumes, a story for GMSA, and those are like individual things that assume you have a Windows cluster working, right? And then like there needs to be a thing that says, here's 4 ways to get a Windows cluster working. Click a button on GKE, click a button on AKS, click a button on EKS, Windows DevTools, Cluster API. Those are the 5 that I know of. And then be like, pick one of these if you want to get a cluster working. And then you can go to any of those projects, whichever one you're interested in, and read the internals of how they set up Windows. And SIG Windows, well, we curate this one that you can just get one working locally on your machine. So you don't need a cloud for that. And it's like, that would be the best introduction, I think, for a person to then dive into those other things.
Yeah, and I think that also kind of, so I think we ran into some of these conversations a little bit when Arvind was updating the volume mount like properties in the documentation. Is like, I think originally all of the documentation on this website was for Linux, except for this one Windows page. But over time, more and more of the individual features that are coming online, or like the concepts pages, are saying like, here's how things work, here's the differences between Windows and Linux. And I think that's actually where a lot of this should be, because if somebody's looking for, how does this one feature work, they may not, they probably won't come back to the Windows page to see, oh, here's the difference. So one thing that like might make sense is to actually remove a lot of content from this page and put it into the other, like the specific concept pages.
Yeah.
Let me set up a meeting with Tim for probably early January I'll include all of the leads, and if there's anybody else that's interested, to reach out to me. And I think just have like a half an hour conversation on Zoom about what do we actually want to do to restructure this page.
Hey, what if we just set up a time where we literally restructured it with Tim, and we made like 5 PRs together, right? And we just said like, let's just make all, like, we could do it in the after hours, right? We could just ask him to come and we could just do it, right? Like kind of online, like pair on it, and then we wouldn't have a big back and forth,
Yeah,
I'm happy to go to a separate meeting, but I'm just thinking that might be more efficient, because every time I do a docs PR, I go back and forth so much on it that it takes months to merge it. It's like, it's like if we all just looked at it together, it might save us all a lot of time, and we just break the pages out right then and there.
Okay, yeah, I'll take that as an action item. I'll set something up on, let me reach out to Tim to see what time zone.
Yeah,
normally
I mean, if
works
he can't
in.
make if he can't make it, then we'll do a separate meeting, but
Yeah.
But let's like actually do it during the meeting if that's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. Because it's super easy work, right? It's just like.
Yep. Yeah, I think that would be good. But yes, so for until then, if there is any accuracy issues, let's open up small PRs. I can help open up the PR, but if people want to do that too, feel free to do that.
Cool.
Thanks for bringing this up, Bing.
Sure. One also quick question about mount propagation with, I'm not sure, as someone posted in the chat, right, there was issue, and once there's PR to disable mount propagation with host process feature, I don't know, mount propagation might work with host process, or I haven't really looked into the details.
I don't know if we've tried mount propagation with host process containers. Brendan, do you know? If not, we might need to just look into that.
No, I have not seen anything about anyone trying to do that.
Yeah, so I think at that time, people like test is not working in Windows. So if there is a PR that I just posted in the chat to disable mock propagation for Windows container. So looks like the code check if its runtime is Windows. It return use private for it. I need to check what does it mean.
Yeah, I need to look into this. I think we can follow up with this
Okay.
outside of the meeting.
Sure.
Oh, thanks. Does anybody have any other questions about some of the accuracy of the docs or some of the storage functionality?
Just want to confirm there is also mentioned in Windows node is expanding mounted volume not supported, but I don't know. Overall, like we have this feature called volume expansion. It work for some of the already for let's say CSS drivers. So I don't know what that claim means.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I don't have a lot of the context for especially the storage side of Windows.
Okay, let me see whether I can find out who wrote most of the storage side for Windows.
Yeah, Deep. It was probably a lot of it was Deep, or possibly Michael helped with the docs. But if we're all confused, I'm sure the users are going to be confused too. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll just figure out how to update all of the docs together. Jay, did you want to talk about you want to take over the next couple of agenda items?
I can. I just, from thinking about this, I just sort of was pasting together a blog post for our internal here, but it's none of the stuff is proprietary, so I figured I'd just share it. But I guess if you give me screen, or if you go to that link, that might be a good solution to the thing we were just talking about. I mean, not this post, but maybe we could just like borrow the diagram from it. I don't know if your thing. Oh yeah. But my only ask would be, please, nobody here go tweet this or anything, because it's supposed to be a Tanzu blog post. But just for us, we can look at it. This was kind of, I had to solve this problem of how do you introduce people to this different concept of installing Kubernetes. So that's kind of the way this is the way I've kind of described it to simplify it. And then if you scroll down, it shows what we do for image builder, zooming in on that first thing where we use the burrito, and then we use the burrito to pull stuff into image builder, and then we set those parameters, and then that makes the OVA. And then if you scroll down again, you'll see another one, and that's sort of telling us how we in Tanzu we use cluster API, but we generate a bunch of YTT and stuff, and so that sort of describes how you make a Linux control plane, and then you have Windows worker cluster, and that all really applies to cluster API as well. I assume, James, you all do the same thing in some manner for whatever that version of Azure is that uses CapZ. But that, I guess those are kind of the three things that I kind of think of. There's the part of creating an image, and then there's the part of joining that image into some Linux control plane. It's those are kind of the three steps, and and then everything else is kind of just fluff. It's it's the conformance and all that stuff. So we don't really have to look at the other stuff. But I just wanted to share that because it might be a thing we can steal. We could totally possibly steal that if we wanted to go down making docs for Cluster API on Windows. But I don't know if there's better docs for Cluster API on Windows that I should be referencing here. So yeah, kind of a open-ended question.
Yeah, James, are you aware of any Windows-specific docs for Cluster API?
We do have a Windows introduction doc for CAPC. I can link it here, but I don't think it's not necessarily beginner Cluster API kind of stuff.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, this might be good to publish.
And then I don't have, so the only other thing was I figured I would just mention that we have the operational readiness stuff. I figured maybe we could, if we had a prototype up, it might help move things forward on our CAP. So I sort of hacked one together on Sunday, and it's pretty stupid, but it sort of does the thing that we're supposed to do in the CAP in a really, really primitive sort of way. And so, I don't know, I might hack on it some with Muzz or something, but if people want to contribute to it or try to improve it or whatever, feel free to copy it, do anything you want with it. I'm not going to say make a PR because it's not like it's an official repo, but if you want, you can make a PR, or I'll just give you commit access and you can push to it. But the idea is that it will implement that spec. So you would write your JSON out, and then it'll figure out whatever Ginkgo tags and whatever, and it'll just output, here's what your Windows cluster can do, and here's what it can do. And I'm hoping to be able to give that to customers from a Sonobui perspective pretty soon. So I'll probably work some on it, maybe with Muzz, or we'll see if other folks want to hack on it, but I don't think there's enough work for like 10 people. So, but yeah.
Hey Jay, whenever you're coding, you just ping me on Slack. I'll be ready. I'm free this week.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we could look at it after hours, unless there's other stuff. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah, Jay, I took a look at this, and also I think thanks for all those updates to the CAP that was the implementation or the idea for this. And so I think most of my questions are all answered. So I don't know if anybody else wants to take a look, but I think we're moving in the right direction. I'm excited.
Cool.
Yeah, and about that, Kep, I was following the updates. I think we still need the PRR review in order for that to be merged. We'll see if Ravi, do you know if David Eads is around for this week?
I think he's around for this week, but he will be out starting 18.
Okay, so maybe let me try and ping him again.
Cool.
To take a look at that, or yeah.
Has he been reviewing it, or if you're looking someone from the prod readiness team? Do not.
Yeah, so we're looking for somebody from the prod readiness team, and David has built up a lot of the. He's been doing a lot of the Windows reviews and has a lot of kind of some context. I would say the right level of context to do some of the prod readiness things. But we can find a different PR reviewer as well needed.
Okay.
Because I think from the prod readiness perspective, like I do think that there is some value of having somebody who's not, super familiar with Windows reviewing it to, just help like make sure things are clear for would be clear for users or people coming in from a primarily Linux background too. But he has been reviewing a lot of the Windows CAPs, so knows at least what functionality is supported, what isn't supported, and all that.
Okay, I'll ping him.
Okay, I think I tagged him on the PR, and I think I reached out to him in Slack too, but I can post in the prod readiness channel too.
Is it something that needs to be merged before 18th or something like that? Is that
so I think that it doesn't need to be, but Jay, do you want to comment? I think that it would help get more momentum behind it once it does get merged.
Yeah, I mean, there's no need, but I think unless there's strong opinions against it for us on our end, once it's in, we can really sort of dig into it and get it working and invest into it. And it's going to be hard for us to do that if it doesn't merge. So if we want this tool, then I think we would want to, then it's in our best interest to sort of bug people to merge it. So
Usually
that's all. So it's not like it's something that's going to block a release though. So I don't want to be like, at the same time that I'm like, let's merge it, I also don't want to be like, like have people not do other things, so hopefully it's not a complicated process to, it feels to me like it's just a matter of getting a stamp on something.
Yeah.
I think if we the longer we wait, the more risk we have of people saying that, they're reviewing other work that may be more critical for release.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense. Yeah, usually PRR people will start reviewing like a week or 2 weeks before. That's what I've noticed, before the freeze deadline.
yeah, but I think this is ready. I'd like to see this merge early.
Okay.
All right. Thanks all. I'm going to drop for the SIG node meeting this week.
Can I ask a question quickly?
Yeah.
This is Jean from Microsoft. So actually, yesterday I started a thread with Mark and James, ask about Server 2022 support from upstream. So as everybody know, we have already published the test results in test grid. So is there anything else we need to take care to announce like Server 2022 is officially supported? Like the Kubernetes documentation or any other action item we should start looking into? Just want to get some opinion from you guys.
We have all of the the test images and everything are, and the pause image is building for 2022. Correct. So I think that that's all. I think that that's all we really are looking for, and the test grid results being up.
Yeah, like the Kubernetes public documentation is the mention like Server 2019 is supported as a Windows node. Should we update like Server 2022 is also supported? Or somebody is who is the owner for this documentation?
We are. I think
We
we can, let's double check the test results. If the test results look good for 123 on Windows Server 2022, then we can update it to say that that's supported, because we do have all the test images. We do meet we would be meeting all the criteria for that we had said before with the SAC releases.
Yeah, so should we like discuss this offline?
Yeah, I need to drop right now too. We can discuss offline.
Great. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Do folks want to stick around for pairing today?
Just a small note. When support for Windows Server 2022 was added to the pause image, that should have also been included in the release notes for 123 Kubernetes. Just FYI.
Oh, okay. 123 release notes, but I thought 123 it's already released.
Yes.
So
And it should be included there. Let me double check the release notes for 123. Where are those?
I'm going to say that the pairing officially started just now.
All right, I'm gonna stop the recording.
These notes.